And we're back. Let's do this. So, continuing from last time, the topic, we're just going to jump right into this. We were talking about paying on the first date. Want to go in? Who wants to go in first? Who wants to jump into this pool?
I mean, maybe we should talk about what caused us to even think about this.
Go ahead.
All right, so we came across a video by the Diaz sisters. They were talking about their thoughts on whether or not the guy should pay on the first date. I mean, and it developed into whether they should be paying most of the time. So I guess we're just going to give our thoughts on that.
You have your own.
Hey, yours closer.
Shit. Do I got to pay for these too? Jesus Christ.
Well, my response is the same as in the last video, how we ended. I feel the first day, the guy should always pay. Now, I would only add one exception to the female paying. This would be after the first day. A female would pay now when they're the one asking you out. So I feel like whoever asks who out, that person pays.
I think what's funny is, let's say if the chick picks the place, does that count as she's the planner, so she has to pay? Because sometimes that happens. Like, oh, let's go out. I want to go to this place. I'm like, well, you picked it. You got to pay. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I always found that kind of interesting.
Well, before jumping to that, I guess to add to George's initial thing, generally, I think the guy should pay for the first date. But if the girl initiates the first date, I don't see a problem with her paying. Like, I would still personally pay. But I don't think the guy has to pay for it, especially if it was her idea. Like, hey, let's go out on a date. It's like, all right. I don't think there's a problem with that.
No, I think it's a matter of principle. The guy should always pay first.
Yeah, but okay, what if...
I feel like the first day, whether she asks you or not, the guy pays.
I think a lot of it
also
has to do with, like, I guess, naturally, like, in our culture, majority of the time it's always the man asking for the date or the men pursuing the chick. Even if the chick likes the guy, it's always like the guy has to make the first move. And I feel like it's just kind of like everyone's used to it now, where it's like the guy looks, the guy initiates the date, the guy makes the first move. Well, at the same time, the guy then has to pay for it, And it's just so embedded into the culture now. I mean, there are girls out there who don't do that. And it's debatable. It's like whether it should be on the first date or not. But a lot of times it's like, oh, the man should pay on the first date. Well, yeah, because most of the time it's the guy making the first move to get that date.
That's true. And again, me personally, I'm going to pay first day. I'm probably going to pay most of the dates until you start fighting to pay. Then I'm not going to fight with you because, you can't fight with girls. They're always right. They're like customers. Mm-hmm. But I just don't see a problem with if the girl initiates that first date. I don't see a problem with her paying for it. Again, me specifically, I'm going to pay for it. But in other people's, lives, if they come across that situation, there's nothing wrong with that either.
I mean, yeah, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that when it's like you guys been dating for a while. Then, because like me personally, I will just I'll ask for the date. I'll look for the place. Have no problem with paying. Like I feel like every man should just have that in their mind already. Even if there's like a slight possibility that the chick would pay, doesn't mind paying, like you should just be prepared. Like just take care of the bill. Just get that out the way. Like I've always had that mindset. Just be prepared. Like I'm already thinking in my head I'm gonna pay anyway, especially if it's on the first date, the second date, third date. But we're for like a couple months in, we're already dating. I mean, I guess me personally, if I've always like dated or been around, girls who've had no problem like down the line paying. So I've never really had a problem with being with someone who always expects you to pay. And I think that's kind of what we're kind of going into as well. The types of people who just expect you to do it just because. Like I've never been on dates with chicks like that. Well, actually, I'm lying. I have. But it was the first date though, so I didn't mind.
Okay.
That shit was funny. She had we had like the fucking jukebox shit with the music.
Oh, Brooklyn?
Brooklyn.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We had the jukebox shit and she kept just coming up to me like, more music, let's go. And then like, I didn't mind it, but I think it was just the gesture of it where she just kind of just like looked at me, put her hand out, just expecting the dollars. I'm just like,
I don't even know you yet.
Exactly. So it's like, it was weird though. Even though she found the spot to play pool. And I still paid. No problem. Had no problem with that. But it was just funny because I'm just like, that's never happened. It has happened. But most of the time, like if I'm like, you know, seriously trying to like date someone, I've always just been with people who had no problem with, you know, getting the bill, especially down the line.
Down the line, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there who have been in situations where they've been with someone who expect them to pay every time. You'd be dating for like 5-6 years in, they're still just expecting you to pay.
Man, I went to get breakfast with a female friend once, and, you know, it was bill time. Like, I was going to pay for it. I mean, we hadn't spoken about it or anything, and in my mind, I was already going to pay for it. But when the bill came, she just kind of sat there and looked at me.
And don't you find that funny?
And I was like, I mean, I was going to pay for it anyway, but you could have at least acted like you were going to try to pay for it.
And the funny thing is, like, I feel like a lot of guys, like, we were already going to pay, but just give us a reach. Just pretend. Just be like, no, I got it. It's like, oh, okay. Just do that at least sometimes.
You know, and one of the girls mentioned that, like, you know, you pull it out because, you know, just to show, like, you're willing, but you're not really, you don't want to.
You don't want to, but at least put
out.
the card on the table. I'm like, no, it's fine. Oh, okay.
And no, there's no problem with that.
It's just a test, them trying to pull it out.
Yes and no.
Sometimes
it's definitely a test, but not every time.
That.
Some girls actually pull out their card because they're ready to pay. Mm-hmm. Some girls pull it out because they want you to think that they're willing to pay.
And then you look and go, wait, that's a Metro card.
But I have nothing against that.
Yeah, nothing against that.
I'd rather see you reach for it than not. Mm-hmm. Like, not on the first date again. But, like, you know, down the line, you start trying to pay. I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's pretty nice. Oh, and then you said about later on picking places and stuff, right? Like, setting up later dates.
Yeah, setting up later dates and stuff like that. It's like I don't know. Like, I usually feel like it's kind of nice if it's like, you know, I'll pick a spot, then maybe next time you pick a spot, and then I pick a spot, then you pick a spot. But then down the line, what did I say? It was like if it's like spots that you guys like already knew, like if you're dating down the line, it's like the usual spot, the usual pub, the usual diner. At that point, it's like, you know, whoever's feeling up to it. Like, I feel, because if you're dating someone for that many years, let's say like, you know, 4 or 5 years, like at that point, it's like, all right, whatever, you know, we're doing this together. You just kind of whoever pays that day, they get the next one. Or sometimes, like, for example, it could be like, oh, I'll pay for transportation. I'll get the Uber. You get the food. Or I'll get the movie. You get the food. Like, you know, I've always been in experiences like that. You know, but there are people out there who haven't gone through experiences like where it's like you got to pay for the transportation, you know, the gas, the movie, if you're going to the movies, the food afterwards, you know, the after party stuff. Maybe you want to go get some drinks, you know, afterward. You know, they have to do everything. But honestly speaking, if you're dating years on end and you're still doing that, yeah,
unless you're okay with that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. If you're okay with that.
Like there are those guys out there that they're gonna pay for everything, and you know, if I could, I'd pay for everything myself too.
But you also have to kind of remember too, sometimes people might be in that situation where they pay for everything, have no problem paying for everything, but then you run that risk of what if you don't have the money anymore, and they leave.
True.
Like sometimes that does happen. So you have to also kind of think about that.
Yeah, you got to be careful with like who you're doing it with. Because there are a lot of people, not girls, people who will just take advantage. So, something to be wary of, I guess.
Yeah, just be wary of that.
Shit, there was another thing that they went in on. I forgot exactly what it was. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. It was, they went into like the provider role and all of that.
Yeah, let's go into that. Do you feel like you need to be the provider all the time?
Well, I mean, if we go into statistics, typically males make 20% more income than females.
We really doing this right now? We're talking about pay gap? We're going to do this? We're not doing this right now.
I mean, I don't know, because I've had exes who made more money than me, so.
Exactly.
Typically. When you're like in the high end, like you're high rollers, typically males are the ones who make 20% more. I mean, according to statistics. I just read this on. And at that point, I would see it as the male have to be the main provider. Or if you're in a long-term relationship, 50-50. You get the gas bill, I get the light bill, so on and so forth.
I mean, I'm fine with being the provider. Actually, I would prefer that role, personally speaking. But I don't think that the guy has to be that. Especially in today's day where, the main thing you hear from girls is that they're strong. They're all strong, independent black women, and they don't need no man. So,
I mean, honestly speaking, like with the world we live in today, it's getting harder and harder to do that. Because if you're in a relationship with someone, let's say you guys get an apartment, just based on just how the economy is now, like 2 people have to have an income to just maintain the apartment.
That's true.
So at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, yeah, I don't mind, handling one side of like, the relationship. Like, I'll handle all the money stuff. I don't mind it. But at the same time, realistically speaking, it's always just better just to have 2 people do it. And at the end of the day, I think that's just a better way to go, because if you're going to be a team with someone, if you're going to be a partner with someone, it's best that you both split up the responsibilities of your life together. However you want to do it, Like, it doesn't always have to be 50-50, but I would say play to your strengths. Like, honestly speaking, I was shit with money. So my ex helped me with money. Like, yeah, I provided, but she also helped with, like, the numbers and how to finance and stuff like that. And then I did what I had to do to help pay this stuff. While at the same time, she took care of stuff. So she'll take care of, like, like the phone or the internet or something. And then I'll do, like, the rent and food and stuff like that. But at the same time, we are talking about a relationship. Because there are people out there who just want to date. They just want to do a couple of dates, and then just want to just leave. So we also have to kind of take that into account in terms of just paying and who pays and who's providing. Because it's kind of hard to say who should be the provider if it's just casual dating as opposed to actual relationships.
Well, as far as relationships go, I think, growing up and seeing the way my parents are, they kind of like led me to the beliefs that I have. Like, I'm very pro 50-50 or 60-40, 80-20, whatever. But like that partnership.
Like pro sharing.
Yeah. Like, I'm very pro just being open with each other and just in my mind, it's my money's our money. Your money is your money. But it works when you're with a person who, even though you tell them that in their mind, they're like, no, it's not like that. It's ours too.
Because then there wouldn't be any progression if you think like that.
Why not?
No, I'm saying like if the female just thinks, oh, the male is going to provide and they're going to input, there wouldn't be any progression because now they're relying on the male to do all the savings, pay all the bills, cover everything.
Well, I mean,
while they're just pocketing their money, go do their hairs and nails, and that's it.
But it's an old mindset. It's a very old fashioned mindset. That's the way things were done back in the day. And so a lot of, especially us, and where we come from, like, we came up seeing that, like grandparents, right? Normally it was the grandfather who held down the household, right?
Was the working man while the female took care of the household.
So it's not like
children.
It's not a bad thing for the guy to provide everything. The question is, can he? And then back to the, you asked the question. Well, you just kind of threw it out there. Is it that they just want to date, or is it a relationship? And they are 2 very different things. I think if you want to run around dating, then you better get used to paying.
This is going to happen a lot.
Yeah. If you don't like to pay, then you shouldn't be dating.
It's like, when you gotta like wear like a nice suit during an interview.
Or you better get creative. You better get fucking creative and take them to a park or something, do something cool.
Yeah.
But
Because that's what you're going to be doing. Like when you go to like an interview, you wear the suit. And after that, you get the job, you don't have to wear the suit anymore. Well, you're going to be wearing a lot of suits because you're going to be doing a lot of interviews. Because that's really kind of what it is, dating. It's initial interview to see if you guys are compatible with each other to continue dating.
Interviews over food.
Mm-hmm. Just eating and talking to it.
Wouldn't interviews be much more fun like that? What if you come and there's like a sushi spread in front of you?
Yeah, nice little sushi spread. You just go and like the ones that spin.
Yeah, and then like you don't have to ask that question so tell me about yourself. I'm sorry, you can tell like you can tell a little bit about me by what I'm choosing. Maybe.
Or just have a whole resume.
No, but
I think a lot of it also, like, in terms of just a lot of people being, like, 50-50 or sharing right now. Like, I mean, let's be fair, though. Like, a lot of, like, our generation come from, like, single-parent homes.
That's true.
So, in addition to just being in single-parent homes, a lot of kids are growing up having to provide earlier in life. So, like, when we're teenagers, like, we're getting jobs to help with the bills. Both, male and female. So, we have a lot of people now that's just holding up more responsibility in terms of money. But the only thing is getting these type of people together. Because a lot of times, these people want to date and they want to find shit, but they might find someone who's not like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of weird. But yeah, a lot of more people nowadays, like, they're holding up responsibility. And then, honestly speaking, like, if one wants to be in a relationship, I'm sorry, but you got to start handling money. Because if you want something serious or something, you have to know how to handle money. Otherwise, you're just going to be doing dates for a very long time. Because when it comes down to it, if you two want to start a life with each other, money is a key factor. And if you can't, like, let's just say, if you can't, like, hold down the idea of who's going to pay during the dates, if you don't got that down packed, whatever way you guys want it to be, then you're not going to last.
That's true.
Like, it doesn't matter if, like, oh, he's the provider or she's the provider, this and that, but just getting it down packed to your two's liking. If you don't got that down packed, you're not going to last. Because if you can't handle a freaking bill at, like, Red Lobster, if you guys end up living with each other.
Man, listen, you can't handle a Red Lobster bill. How are you ever going to get to Sizzler?
Seriously.
No.
You got that Sizzler money.
But, is it wrong? This is more of a question I guess you guys answer. Is it wrong for me to think that as the guy, you should kind of want to be the provider?
That's not wrong.
That's not wrong.
Because I think that you should want to be. And, I've seen plenty of guys who go and they kind of just live off of women or have everything paid for by just random girls, which is the same thing. And I don't agree with it. Like, I couldn't see myself sitting at home while a woman takes care of me. Not because, like, women are any, like, lesser than us. It's just not the way it should be.
I don't know. The way I see it is, last time I checked, I stopped living with my mom a while ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you end up being like that and you just want to sit there and just have, as a man's perspective right now, if you're a man and you want to live your life where you're expecting other people to provide for you all the time, and then that moment comes when you're by yourself and you have to only fend for yourself, you don't know what to do, shit, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're fucked because no one's gonna help you. And as men, I feel like it's beneficial to have that provider mindset, even if you ended up in a relationship where you don't always have to provide. It's good just to have that mindset, because if you're always willing to provide and do what you got to do for the relationship, if it ever comes to the point you are by yourself, you know how to take care of yourself. You know how to manage money yourself. You know how to provide for yourself, because that's more important than anything else. You have to learn how to provide for yourself and take care of yourself, so that way when you're in a relationship with someone, you can pass down those things, and hopefully you're with someone who does the same for you.
Word. And if you're good alone,
you'll be good with someone.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, with the right someone, I guess. 'Cause, you can run into a few walls. But I think once you're good by yourself, you're self-sufficient, they see that. They come, all they're doing is adding. Mm-hmm. You're just adding to each other.
And that's kind of what everyone should seek to get.
So would you say that we're kind of in agreement with their points of views, the Diaz sisters?
More or less.
Except for that.
I wouldn't be able to say because I didn't see the podcast.
No, well. I mean, I guess the only...
But it sounds more or less from what you guys are talking about.
I mean, there was a little...
fall in agreement.
There were some hypergamous comments that were made that I didn't care too much for.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, if he don't pay the first one, then how can I look at him as a provider? It was like... or if he's cheap with tipping, he's going to be cheap with you. I'm like, I don't think that's true. I mean, I've never done those things, so personally speaking, I can't talk about it, but I don't think it's true to say. I mean, it could be true in some cases.
If they're saying it, it's probably true, or they probably encounter those cases.
No.
So that's probably why they're the same.
Because the other one said that she had a boyfriend who was cheap when it came to tipping, but gave her everything she wanted the entire time they were together. So he provided everything for her, paid for everything. He just didn't like to tip. And there are a lot of different ideas about tipping in specific.
But then that falls in a whole other topic, not in the topic whether the guy should be the provider or not.
No, it falls into it because she was saying how if he's cheap when it comes to tipping, eventually he's going to be cheap with you. And how can you be with someone like that and expect them to provide for you? That's what she was saying.
It's funny because you think this whole concept of providing and paying and all that stuff, you think that kind of falls in line with what people expect like chivalry to be? Like, to be a chivalrous person, like to be kind, hold the door, or what they say, hold the door, this and that. It kind of sounds like that's kind of like in line with that, like pay on the first date, have the mindset of being a provider because that's very chivalrous for a man to do.
It's kind of like be a man.
Yeah, be a man.
Like classic what a man is.
Which is funny because there's a lot of times too where there's a lot of women out there who are like, well, I don't need that. I can provide for myself. I can do things for myself. Which is very strange because I feel like all three of us are kind of in the same page. It was like it's nice where we just work together when it comes to a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
But I guess it's nice to just initiate that first move of just being chivalrous and showing that you can provide. You know what?
Making those first moves could kind of build confidence in whoever it is that's sitting across from you. It's like, hey, listen, I'm putting all this into you because I see you as worth all this. Whereas if you're like not willing to, let's say, pay, they might be like, is he into this at all?
I mean, men and women have different ways of showing their interest.
Yeah.
From what it looks like all throughout society, that's how men have to show their interest.
By paying?
First date, at least. I mean, that's how it seems. That's kind of how it is. Like, for a man to show that they're truly interested, they have to, take initiative and maybe, like, find the place, pay for the place. Be a good host, you might say. In advertising yourself to the chick.
I'm a terrible host, so.
But, yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of what it seems like. And then, females have their own way of showing their interest. Don't know them, not a female, don't have a female brain, can't really say much on that. I just go based off of what I see. I don't know, they dress nice, get themselves together, they show up.
Or they see that you're tired and they come and they just start giving you a tiny massage.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Or they see that you're sad, they give you a hug.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Men like that too. Men like hugs.
Yes. I mean, you guys see me, I'm like a big ass bitch. So.
Yeah, let that be known. Men like hugs. Men like compliments. Men like love too, man. Come on.
It's true though.
Men like love.
I feel like the way that the whole boys don't cry. How men shouldn't cry, like that needs to be thrown out the window. I was always pro, like just be open.
Be careful though, someone might call you a bitch.
That's fine. It's fine. Fight for 10 minutes.
Fight for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's strange. But I don't know. Just don't get with someone who are showing clear signs that they want to take advantage of you. That goes for all ends.
Yeah, because there are guys out there that do it. There are girls out there that do it. People do it. There are scumbags out there. It is what it is.
One road, open-minded people. They just want that one thing. Once they get it, goodbye. Whether it's to sleep with that person, once they maneuver their first dates and all that, they get in the bed, then they're gone.
Or they get expensive gifts.
Very expensive gifts. But it's true.
And then run off.
Don't do that.
It's true.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
It's like they want to do that.
Keep my ear.
But it's true. The truth has to be told.
Listen, we're all about transparency, guys.
No, man, but that should be happening. No, there's a lot of guys out there who do what they want to do because they just want to have the sex and then just bounce. But at the same time, on the other perspective, there's people out there who just want a free drink. Like there's girls out there that'll literally go to a bar without $1 in their pocket, but they don't care because they know damn well they're gonna be out drunk as fuck.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
But just remember though, on both ends, just be careful when dating, because just don't end up with someone who wants to take advantage of you, whether it's financially, physically, emotionally. Just be very mindful and very careful of who you date. How did this turn into dating advice? I thought we were just talking about who's paying on the first days.
But I guess it all branches out.
So we become Dr. Love now?
We ain't Dr. Love.
It's crazy.
We're definitely not.
Rather be that than Dr. Oz.
But, yep. So, yeah, the guy should definitely pay on the first. Pay for the first date. Pay for the second date. Hell, try to pay for every date. Make her fight you to pay.
Because the fighting's fun. It's funny as fuck.
It is when you both hold out your card, and generally the waiter, waitress grabs your card, and then you give that smirk like, huh.
Honestly speaking,
sign of victory.
In my opinion, you should pay on the first date, all those stuff like that. Because honestly speaking, if you can't afford to pay on the first date, you shouldn't be fucking dating.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Seriously, you shouldn't be fucking dating if you can't pay on the first date.
Or you shouldn't be chasing at all.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you can't pay for the first date, then you need to work on your fucking self. Fix your own damn income.
What about half and half on the first date? I mean, that doesn't work for me, but I'm just saying. How do you feel about it?
I wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do it.
No, but I just said I wouldn't do it. Okay, you guys wouldn't do it. But how do you feel about other people doing it?
That's their own perspective.
Yeah, if they want to do it, that's fine. Personally, I wouldn't do it. I mean, if they want to do it, and if it works out, that's fine. If it doesn't work out, I don't know, that's their choice. But I wouldn't do it. I'll probably be like, no. I'll do this one, and then you'll get the next one. If that's what they really want and stuff, whatever. But I personally wouldn't do it. On the first date, they want to go half and half. Because in my mind, honestly speaking, if we go, let's say we go out for drinks, and then you want to do half and half, and you're persisting on doing half and half, it's like, oh, then you don't want to date me, then we just friends. That's how I see it. Like, you friend zoning me right now with that card on the table. No. Like, I want to actually date.
It doesn't have to be that, but you're right, though. It could be
that. It's like, oh, here you go, bro. Because, sometimes they'll throw the bro at you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I swear to God, I hate when girls call me bro.
I hate when girls say bro. I hate when they say the N-word. Just when they talk like guys, I hate when girls talk like this. We're not even supposed to be talking about this.
No, but it's like what I mean by that is like if I'm trying to get with you or trying to date you, and I'm clearly showing that I'm interested in you, and you want to talk to me like bro, then I'm like, you're not friend zoning me. You're not Disney Plusing me. Screw that.
So how do you get out of that? Do you friend zone her first?
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It was on your terms.
I mean, yeah, it's always better on your terms. Screw that shit. But seriously though, like, if that happened, it's like, you know what? Then I won't. I mean, I'll still hang out, but I'm just like,
What's the most that you'd give on the first date? And what I mean by that is, all right, you're not willing to allow the girl to pay on the first date, but what if they're insistent on paying? What is the most you'd allow?
In terms of like
just them showing up.
What, an amount or just in general?
Like, all right, so me, let's say I go on a date. Bill comes in, obviously, card is in hand already, putting it in the book, and she's like, no, let me pay. I'm like, no. Let me pay half. No. And she's like insisting. because she's like, no, I don't want you to pay for the whole thing. And she just literally just like wants to help. The most I do is say, leave the tip if it makes you happy. Because sometimes, they just literally, if they want to do it, I'm not going to stop. Here, leave the tip. Go ahead.
Because you also have to, keep in mind that a lot of times, like, someone would do that. No, let me contribute, because it's nice to feel like you contributed to the event as well.
Exactly.
It's nice to feel like you did your part, which is understandable. So, like me, I would be like, either, leave the tip, or we'll do something a little after and you get that, Like, oh, we'll go for dessert. You'll pay for dessert. You'll pay for the ice creams. Or, you'll get the next drink or something like that. On the first date, at least.
Like, sometimes with certain people, you kind of have to break bread a little bit, compromise. Because some of them are just like, no, come on. I don't want you paying for everything. It's like, all right, I'll let you do something.
It's not even just that. Like, you also have to be very careful with that, because if you keep... and this happens a lot too. If you keep like, no, I'm going to pay. Then you're like, oh, he wants to be a machismo. Okay, I see what this. And then sometimes they don't like that. They don't like when you have to, like, when you are overly masculine.
Yeah.
Because then sometimes they feel like you're undermining them. Which is like you said, it's good to just break bread. But it does vary depending on, the person you date.
Mm-hmm.
But, keep in account that a lot of times they might do that because... they want to contribute, and they may not like it because they feel like you're being a little too machismo. You're showing off, or you're trying too hard. That's another thing. Well, depends on the person. Just feel it out. See how it is. And just take it from there, honestly speaking.
If you go out on the first date and she orders a steak, she's a keeper.
A steak?
Yeah.
Better be prepared with that steak money.
No, I'm talking about, like steak with the potatoes, and she eats the whole thing.
Oh, she eats heavy.
Like,
okay.
That's a keeper.
That is a keeper. Man. Fuck salad.
If she orders
salad.
A goddamn salad, come on, what are you doing? We came out to eat.
What if they're vegan?
You want to play with grass? We could have went to the park. But if she's vegan, she could eat a lot too. I'm down for the vegan stuff.
She's a vegan and a model.
You mean like an anorexic? No, why would I go out with someone like that?
You never know until you meet them.
Anyways, that's crazy. So what do you think? Good on that?
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Men, pay for the first date. Pay for all the dates.
If possible.
If possible, yeah.
But don't fight her.
And don't make her feel like she's useless.
I mean, don't let anyone feel like anyone's useless, honestly speaking. But yeah, pay on the first date. Insist on continuing paying. Be prepared. Make sure that you can handle yourself before handling someone else. Try your best to work together if you are working on a relationship. If you want to just date, I don't know, go play that ball game. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Jordan, last words?
Be the gentleman your dad wants you to be.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. She put down a shirt. But yes, just be a gentleman. Be humble, be courteous, be a fucking gentleman. And if they don't like that, then they weren't for you. Girls, be humble. Be kind. And same thing. If the guy didn't like that, then fuck it, that's not the guy for you. Be courteous to each other. I think we can sign off on that. So you drop that. Peace.
Peace.